we're very close friends. Kobe was my dear friend. He was like a little brother.
The NBA is absolutely losing it right now. Michael Jordan just dropped a bombshell. He said that after him, Kobe Bryant was the greatest of all time. That's right, the GOAT himself actually said it, and fans everywhere are freaking out. So today, we're breaking down every insane detail, what MJ really meant.
I know where you're going. I'm getting to that. No. You gotta get up quick. If you knew where I was going, why you go for the fake?
Mike, after you face the ball, where else you gonna go?
You left your feet.
Yeah, but where else you gonna go?
In the game, I go for you.
I spun all the way around.
I go for these ribs.
The plays and stats that prove Kobe's greatness, and the powerful points Jordan used to back it up. And if you think that's wild, just wait until you hear about the ruthless things LeBron was doing before he even stepped foot in the NBA. This story is going to change the way you look at the league forever. But first, you've got to understand something about Kobe Bryant. He wasn't just obsessed with basketball, he was basketball. The man didn't just play the game, he lived it, breathed it, and studied it until even Michael Jordan, the ultimate competitor, couldn't help but respect him. And not some casual handshake after the game kind of respect either.
So I'm walking with Kobe through the Olympic Village, and this is when I realized he was at a different level than I. This motherfucker could speak 9 different languages. He spoke to everybody in their native tongue.
We're talking real admiration, the kind where MJ straight up called Kobe his little brother and actually answered his phone calls at 2 or 3 in the morning. Yeah, Kobe would literally wake MJ up in the middle of the night to talk about footwork, post moves, and defensive counters. He'd ask, how would you attack this guy? Or what move would you use if the defender shades left? Like a student calling the master. And here's the crazy part. Kobe was already a superstar by then. These weren't rookie questions.
On the bench as well, so good crossover by James, and on the landing, immediately cramps up.
Doris?
Mike, I continue to use this handheld for my...
This was a 5-time All-Star digging into the mind of the GOAT to unlock even more greatness. They were technically rivals in the league, but Kobe never treated it that way. He treated Jordan like a mentor, because to him, learning from the best was the only way to become the best. That obsession separated Kobe from everyone else. Kobe trained like a man possessed. I'm talking 4 a.m. workouts, the kind where the whole world's asleep and the gym lights are the only thing burning. While other players were hitting snooze, Kobe was already drenched in sweat, chasing perfection. After practice, he wasn't done either.
The people that I've always had issues or problems with are the people that don't demand excellence for themselves. I won't tolerate that.
He'd watch hours of game film, zooming in on defensive rotations, studying angles, perfecting his footwork until every movement was sharp as a blade. Nothing slipped past him.
Kobe made legends nervous, and this other guy only knows how to make headlines.
He demanded more from himself than anyone ever could, and that same intensity extended to everyone around him. Teammates, coaches, staff. Kobe set a standard that forced everyone in his orbit to level up. That was his secret. The relentless fire that made even Michael Jordan pick up the phone and say, yeah, that kid's different. Now, let's stack that up against LeBron. And yeah, this is where things get messy.
Break it down for us, because it seems like Kobe is the closest thing we've ever seen to MJ.
Molly, you're absolutely right.
Right when you think, Mike's the greatest ever, what he is, Kobe Bryant come along.
Yep.
And that's no, I'm not LeBron. As far as GOAT, it's Michael Jordan all day long. And Kobe Bryant is right on his heel.
LeBron's a phenomenal player, no doubt about that. But when you really break it down, his focus has always leaned more toward narrative, brand, and image. And that's part of why, even with all the records and highlights, he doesn't command the same kind of respect on the court that Kobe did. With Kobe, opponents didn't just respect him, they feared him. Not because he was the tallest or fastest out there, but because he was built different. The man had a pain tolerance that bordered on legendary. He'd play through broken fingers, torn ligaments, busted ankles, you name it, and still go for 40. While most players would have tapped out, Kobe just tightened his laces and kept going, and that's what caught Michael Jordan's attention. See, MJ didn't just respect talent, he respected mentality.
You guarded LeBron, you guarded Kobe. And what's your toughest matchup?
Well, Kobe will be the tougher matchup, and Kobe is the tougher matchup because he's way more relentless.
He recognized that killer focus, that obsession, that iron will that reminded him of himself. Kobe had it all, the work ethic, the hunger, the fearlessness, and MJ saw that in him from day one. LeBron, on the other hand, has had iconic moments too, no question. But the aura is different. Opponents respect him. They just don't fear him like they feared Kobe. Kobe walked into a building and everyone knew. Somebody was getting torched that night. That's the energy that separated him. And when the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan himself, openly says he admired Kobe for his obsession and sacrifice, that says everything. You can debate stats all day, but respect from the GOAT? That ends the conversation. Kobe didn't chase fame or social media trends. He chased greatness. While some players were worried about cameras and narratives, Kobe was worried about footwork angles and split-second reads. That's the core difference. Kobe's legacy was built on sweat and obsession, not branding or politics. And speaking of differences, let's talk about the era. Kobe didn't just dominate because he was talented. He dominated in a brutal NBA that punished mistakes and tested toughness every single night.
Dislocated his finger, and it can be really, really difficult. Finally, it goes back into place, and then as soon as it goes in, he was gone. Like, I patted him on the head, like, okay, it's gonna be okay. Next thing I know, he was gone. That, in and of itself, showed.
People love to say LeBron's faced the hardest competition ever, but if you really know ball, you know Kobe's era was a straight-up war zone. Back then, it wasn't just physical, it was survival. Hand-checking was still allowed, which meant defenders could literally stick to you like glue. Try shooting a fadeaway when Gary Payton or Scottie Pippen is gripping your jersey and bumping you midair. It wasn't fancy basketball, it was hand-to-hand combat on hardwood. Fouls, rare. Superstar protection barely existed. If you couldn't take pain, you didn't last. Kobe didn't just have skill, he had grit. And then there's the minutes. Man, that's where it really hits different. There was no such thing as load management. No rest days, just because you're tired. Back then, stars like Kobe were playing 40-plus minutes on back-to-back nights, sometimes straight through the playoffs. They were facing defenders who didn't care about highlight reels. They cared about hurting your rhythm and testing your toughness. Meanwhile today, you might see a star sit out because of load management or recovery protocol. But Kobe, he didn't have that option. There weren't performance teams telling him to chill. There was ice, tape, and a will to dominate. Defense in that era was another level of punishment. It wasn't just about staying in front of your man, it was about wearing you down. Defenders back then had bad intentions. Guys like Bruce Bowen and Gary Payton were known for physical, borderline painful defense. If you somehow got past them, there was still a big waiting to slam you to the floor. Screens were bone-crushing, elbows were constant, and if you landed wrong, you might miss weeks. And no one was calling it unlucky. It was expected. Kobe thrived in that chaos. He didn't flinch, didn't fold, didn't complain. He fought through it every single night. That's why MJ's praise hits so hard, because it wasn't just about stats or awards. It was about a mentality that few players ever had. Kobe didn't just survive the most unforgiving era of basketball. He owned it, and that's exactly why, when you put Kobe next to LeBron in the eyes of players who lived that old-school grind, there's no comparison. Kobe was forged in pain, in obsession, in discipline, and even Michael Jordan saw it clear as day. Kobe's mid-range game, flawless footwork, and relentless killer instinct weren't just impressive, they were survival tools. Those moves literally kept him alive in an era where basketball was warfare. Now, here's where things get wild for modern fans, because if you compare that grind to today's NBA, it looks like two completely different worlds. LeBron plays in what might as well be a sanitized, hyper-officiated playground. The league today is all about pace and space, where defenders can barely breathe on you without a whistle. Hand-checking, gone. Hard fouls, extinct. And if a star takes even minor contact, boom. Free throws. The entire system is designed to protect players, not test them. Load management is treated like gospel now. Players sit out games to recover. Teams track every heartbeat, every step, every minute of sleep. The modern NBA literally builds you a safety net. And don't even get started on how inflated scoring has become. The pace is faster, the floor is spaced wider, and the defense, man, it's soft compared to the bloodbaths of the early 2000s. Back in Kobe's day, if you scored 30 points, it meant you earned every bucket through bruises, elbows, and exhaustion. Today, players can drop 30 on jumpers and free throws, not by surviving 48 minutes of chaos. That's why old-school fans look back at Kobe's run and just shake their heads, because he didn't just play the game, he endured it. And if you think you already know how great Kobe was, buckle up, because once you break down his resume, the numbers are straight up unreal. Let's start with the obvious. 5 times NBA champion, 2 times finals MVP, 1 time regular season MVP, 2008, 18 times All-Star, 2 times scoring champion, 12 times all-defensive team selections. That last stat is crazy. 12 all-defensive selections means that for over a decade, Kobe wasn't just one of the best scorers alive, he was one of the best defenders too. He locked people down just as much as he lit them up. But that's just the surface, because the moments, they were legendary. His 81-point game against the Toronto Raptors in 2006 still sits as the second highest scoring game in NBA history. And get this, that wasn't some casual no-defense night. The Raptors were throwing everything at him. Kobe shot 28 of 46 from the field, hit 7 threes, grabbed a few boards, dished some assists, and completely controlled the game from start to finish. And he wasn't done there. A year earlier, he dropped 62 points in just 3 quarters against the Mavericks, outscoring their entire team before the final quarter even started. Think about that. He had 62, the Mavs had 61, and Kobe sat out the fourth. Then came his grand finale, April 13th, 2016, the night the world stopped to watch Kobe Bryant's final game. At 37 years old, with his body beaten down from 20 NBA seasons, he still dropped 60 points. Most of it came in the second half as the crowd roared and every possession turned into a cinematic moment. It wasn't just a farewell game, it was a Hollywood ending that only Kobe could have written. But Kobe wasn't just about the points, it was how he did it. His mid-range game was surgical, his footwork a masterclass. Defenders like Bruce Bowen, Ron Artest, and Tony Allen, guys known for their lockdown defense, looked like they were chasing shadows. Every fadeaway, every step back, every jab step into a pull-up jumper came from hours of film study, endless repetition, and an obsession with perfection. And don't forget where it all started, Lower Merion High School. A 17-year-old kid straight out of Philly, drafted into the NBA as a teenager while most kids his age were worried about algebra tests or what to eat for lunch. Kobe stepped into a league full of grown men, legends like Gary Payton, Karl Malone, and Scottie Pippen. And instead of being intimidated, he studied them, worked them, and earned their respect. He wasn't born great, he built greatness. Every highlight, every accolade, every insane stat came from sweat, pain, and obsession. Kobe didn't take shortcuts, didn't need super teams, didn't chase comfort. He created moments that demanded respect from everyone, including Michael Jordan himself. That's the thing about Kobe Bryant. His legacy isn't just written in numbers, it's carved in scars and sealed in effort. Because when the game got rough, when others backed down, Kobe got sharper, colder, and even more locked in. That's what made him special. And that's why, decades later, his name still echoes through every gym, every debate, every highlight reel. No hype, no social media buzz, no PR machine, just a 17-year-old kid with an unshakable mindset who refused to lose. Kobe Bryant didn't have algorithms boosting his name or a million hashtags hyping him up. He had pure grind. He outworked veterans, mastered his craft, and forced the basketball world to pay attention. He didn't ask for respect, he earned it. And then came the ultimate stamp of approval, from Michael Jordan himself. MJ said it best. When he talked about Kobe, you could hear the admiration in his voice. Jordan doesn't hand out compliments easily, but when he did for Kobe, it was like the GOAT was saying, "This kid is wired like me." That's not casual praise, that's a passing of the torch. The more you dig into it, the clearer it gets. Ask anyone, players, coaches, rivals, they'll all tell you the same thing. Kobe wasn't just a nickname, he was the Mamba. That wasn't a brand, it was a mindset. Magic Johnson played with and against legends, Kareem, Worthy, Bird, and he said Kobe had the same aura, the same killer instinct that made those greats iconic. When Magic puts you in that company, it's because you earned it through fire. Then there's Shaq. The Diesel himself, one of the most dominant forces in NBA history, said Kobe was the most relentless worker he'd ever seen, and even called him the greatest Laker ever. Think about that. Shaq won 3 titles with Kobe and still said it. Even crazier, Shaq admitted Kobe used to push him to the edge in practice, to the point where he couldn't match Kobe's intensity. There were times when Shaq said he actually feared what Kobe might do if left unchecked. Imagine that, a 7-foot powerhouse being nervous about his own teammates' drive. That's not normal. That's obsession at a superhuman level. And it didn't stop there. Dwyane Wade, one of the fiercest competitors of the 2000s, said Kobe wasn't just better than everyone else, he was mentally playing a whole different game. Wade said, Kobe was on another level, and you could feel the respect in every word. He talked about how beloved Kobe was around the world, that magnetic energy that made crowds lose their minds when he walked in. Wade said you could be standing next to another NBA superstar, and if Kobe showed up, the fans forgot everyone else existed. Allen Iverson, one of the most fearless scorers ever, said Kobe was right there on his heels. And when someone like Iverson, who never backed down from anybody, says that, that's serious respect. And then there's Gilbert Arenas, one of the most confident, talk-heavy scorers of the 2000s, a guy who made a career off swagger and skill. Straight up admitted that guarding LeBron was easier than guarding Kobe. Read that again. Arenas, a master of offensive creativity, said Kobe was the one guy who broke his rhythm, forced him to think twice, made him sweat bullets. If he's saying that, you can bet every defender from that era felt the same way. And it wasn't about highlights or flashy crossovers. It was about fear, pure earned fear. The kind of fear that made defenders hesitate the second Kobe caught the ball because they knew what was coming. That's what separated Kobe. Legends respected him, opponents feared him, and and even teammates knew if Kobe had the ball, it was curtains. He didn't just play basketball, he took control of it. Now compare that to LeBron. Sure, LeBron's respected, you can't deny his greatness, but fear? That's a whole different conversation. LeBron dominates physically, but Kobe terrified people mentally. He got inside your head, dismantled your confidence, and then destroyed you on the court. Across every era, the story stays the same. Kobe was different. The mentality, the fire, the aura, it all hit differently. So when you hear names like MJ, SHAQ, WADE, IVERSON, ARENAS, and MAGIC all praising KOBE the same way, you start to see the truth. This isn't nostalgia talking, it's recognition. Kobe didn't just play the game, he controlled it. He forced players to reach deeper, to question themselves, to change how they approach basketball entirely. He was the standard every competitor measured themselves against. And even now, years later, his influence is everywhere. Because Kobe wasn't just chasing greatness, he defined it. That's something LeBron could never touch, even after what feels like 1 billion seasons in the league. And if you need proof, let's break down some of Kobe Bryant's craziest games. The ones that show exactly why so many fans and legends believe he sits above LeBron when it comes to pure greatness. Let's start with the 2003 playoffs against the Spurs. Peak competition, brutal defense, and Kobe dropped 36 points in Game 4, all while fighting through a sprained ankle. He wasn't supposed to even move like that, but Kobe played through the pain, carried the Lakers, and made it look effortless. That's not just toughness, that's obsession in motion. Then there's one that gets criminally overlooked. 2007 against the Golden State Warriors. Kobe went nuclear, scoring 65 points in one game. 65. And here's the part that blows your mind. He did it on 50 shots while running the offense, rebounding, and locking people up on. Defense. The man was everywhere. Scoring, facilitating, defending, all at once. Nobody in today's league is built like that. Now let's talk 2010 NBA Finals, Game 7, one of the most iconic games of Kobe's entire career. People love to quote the numbers, 23 points, 15 rebounds, but that doesn't tell the full story. Kobe wasn't just scoring, he was doing everything. Crashing the glass, diving for loose balls, shutting down Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. He played with controlled chaos, making winning plays that didn't even show up on the stat sheet. When the buzzer sounded, the Lakers were champs again, and it was because their leader refused to let them lose. And if you want clutch, buckle up. 2008, Game 5 against the Nuggets. Kobe dropped 35 points, hit a fadeaway dagger with just 1.5 seconds left to force overtime, and then dragged his team through double OT against one of the toughest defenses in the league. The crowd was screaming for him to fail, but Kobe fed off it. That's not luck, that's Mamba mentality. Oh, and you think that's tough? Let's go to February 2016, Lakers versus Spurs. Kobe dislocates his finger mid-game. It's literally bent the wrong direction. Most players would have limped straight to the locker room. Not Kobe. He just walked to the bench, told trainer Gary Vitti to snap it back in place, grimaced once, and walked right back on the court like nothing happened. Who does that? And people still compare this man to LeBron. Come on, that's disrespect. There's levels to this. If you actually look at the stats that matter, Kobe clears LeBron in the categories that define a killer. Kobe made the all-defensive team 12 times. 12. LeBron's made it 5. Kobe was a nightmare for anyone trying to score. LeBron's solid on defense, sure, but no one ever looked across the court at him and froze the way they did when Kobe locked eyes with them. Now, let's talk scoring. Kobe's highest scoring game? 81 points, second most in NBA history. LeBron's best, 61. And it's not just the numbers, it's how they got there. Kobe's buckets came off fadeaways, double teams, impossible footwork, and pure artistry. He turned scoring into an art form. LeBron, for all his power, relies on spacing, physical dominance, and pace. Kobe crafted every point through skill, precision, and willpower. Check the volume stats too. Kobe had 122 games scoring 40-plus points and 26 games with 50 or more, including playoffs. LeBron, 79 games of 40-plus, 15 of 50-plus. And Kobe did all that without playing 20-plus seasons, without super teams, and without modern rules that gift scorers extra whistles. He earned those points through blood and grind, not analytics and load management. And you want to talk about artistry? Nobody, and I mean nobody, had a mid-range package like Kobe. The footwork, the balance, the elevation. It was poetry on hardwood. Every fadeaway was a masterclass in geometry and control. When the pressure hit, Kobe didn't shrink. He came alive. LeBron, he's a freak athlete, no doubt. Powerful, flashy, unstoppable in transition. But when it comes to killer instinct, that cold-blooded, I will bury you mindset, Kobe wins that battle every single time. When the clock ran low and everything was on the line, everyone, fans, teammates, even opponents, knew what was coming. Kobe was taking that shot, and more often than not, he was making it, and the numbers don't lie. Kobe didn't just score, he conquered. He made defenders second-guess their careers, embarrassed the best, and performed through pain most athletes wouldn't dare to play with. But here's where things get really interesting, because stats and highlights only tell half the story. When it comes to character, that's where the real gap opens between Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. Kobe's legacy wasn't built on social campaigns or image crafting. It was forged through sweat, sacrifice, and silence. He didn't need to tell you he was great. He showed you every single night. And that's where the difference hits hardest, because greatness isn't about how long you've been around. It's about what you do while you're there. And Kobe, he did everything. Kobe Bryant lived for one thing: basketball. That was his oxygen, his obsession, his entire identity. He didn't need cameras following him or Instagram stories documenting his grind. There were no PR stunts, no media spin, no fake humility. It was just Kobe, the gym, and the ball. Every single day. His greatness wasn't built on branding or hype. It was carved out of sweat, sacrifice, and silence. Kobe let the game speak for him, and everything else was just background noise. But LeBron, man, it's like night and day. Everything around him feels like a carefully curated story. Image, brand, legacy management, it's all part of the package. From the start, his moves have been about more than basketball. And the perfect example? The Decision. That 2010 live TV special where LeBron announced he was leaving Cleveland for Miami. It wasn't just shocking, it was bizarre. The man didn't just change teams, he broke an entire city's heart on national television. Cleveland fans were devastated, jerseys burning in the streets, anger everywhere. It was the kind of moment that made even neutral fans raise an eyebrow. Things got so out of hand that Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert wrote that now famous open letter calling LeBron a coward. Harsh? Maybe, but a lot of people back then didn't think he was wrong to say it, and it didn't stop there. The controversies just kept coming. Remember the China situation in 2019? When Rockets GM Daryl Morey tweeted support for Hong Kong protesters, LeBron stepped in, but instead of supporting freedom or standing up for what was right, he publicly said Morey was not educated. Fans around the world saw it for what it was, LeBron protecting his business interests over human rights. Then came 2021, when he posted a tweet after the police shooting of Bryant. Instead of taking a stand, he deleted the post, worried it might hurt his image, and followed it up with a vague, "We need accountability" message. To many, it looked like another move to protect his brand instead of his beliefs. Dan Gilbert's "coward" comment was starting to sound less like bitterness and more like prophecy. And here's what most people forget. This pattern didn't start in the pros. LeBron's image management started before he even got to the NBA. Early in high school, controversy hit when he was spotted driving a custom Hummer H2. Fully loaded, TVs in the headrests, sound system, King James, stitched into the seats, worth way beyond what a high school athlete was allowed to accept. The Ohio High School Athletic Association even launched an investigation. LeBron's mom claimed she bought it for him, but let's be real, everyone had questions. Then, just days later, LeBron accepted 2 throwback jerseys worth about $845, breaking the same rule again and earning a 1-game suspension. The kid hadn't even made it to the NBA and was already bending the rules. Meanwhile, Kobe, he lived and breathed basketball. No outside noise, no distractions, no PR drama, just work. His focus never left the court, and that's why his legacy feels earned, not engineered. Now, LeBron fans are already warming up their keyboards to flood the comments. We know how it goes. LeBron's been in the league longer. LeBron's scoring totals are higher. Yeah, we've heard it all before. But when you actually look deeper, most of those arguments fall apart fast. Let's start with longevity. Yes, LeBron's been playing forever. That's impressive. But staying in the league longer doesn't automatically make you greater. Kobe spent a decade defining the NBA, carrying squads, winning 5 championships, and being the face of an era, all without the modern sports science and recovery tools LeBron's benefited from. Kobe dominated during a time when the league was more physical, less forgiving, and far more demanding night after night. LeBron, on the other hand, has needed 2 decades, 4 teams, and constantly shifting narratives just to stay in the conversation. He's played the long game, but longevity isn't legacy. Now about the scoring totals. Yes, LeBron's the all-time scoring leader, but if you play 21 seasons and start your career at 18, you're supposed to rack up points. Kobe hit his milestones in fewer years, fewer games, and with fewer free passes from referees. And let's be real, when your son's playing in the same league with you, your scoring record starts to look more like a product of time than dominance. So when someone says LeBron's played longer or LeBron scored more, you already know that's all they've got. Because when you strip away the PR polish, the social media stats, and the highlight edits, what's left? Kobe Bryant was greatness concentrated. He didn't need 20 years to prove it. He didn't chase storylines. He made them. His greatness was earned in sweat, defined by pain, and sealed with banners. At the end of the day, ask the real hoopheads, the ones who watched MJ, Bird, Magic, Shaq, and Kobe all in their primes. They'll tell you the truth every time. Kobe wasn't just one of the greatest, he was the standard, and no amount of hashtags, records, or carefully managed narratives will ever change that.